You're watching The Ugly Inside? Subscribe below.
Welcome to TUI Transfer Talk. Now, I'm joined by Clive. Lots of you may know Clive already, but lots of speculation about Ronald Koeman's future at Southampton. £6 to £7 million that's been reported by some of the tabloids, keyword tabloids. What do you make of all of these?
I want to see what happens, to be honest, because first of all, we heard Les Reed saying that negotiations were going quite well, and then there was silence. And I've got to admit, that silence worried me because there was no news coming out of Southampton. And then all of a sudden, this Everton news breaks out of nowhere, out of absolutely nowhere, because everybody was thinking that Ronald's going to honour his word, that he was going to stay to honour his 3-year contract at least, and maybe Saints were trying to get him for another 2 years, which would have been brilliant. But again, we're left in a bit of a state of limbo right now, because there's so many conflicting reports, and who's actually talked to who at the moment? It seems like all of us say Saints and Everton are talking. Are they? Well, nothing's coming out of Saints. So what is actually happening?
The way that I've sort of ingested the reports, it's mainly his agent that is pushing the move. It's Rob Jansen, I think his name is. He's only been Koeman's agent for about 3 weeks, and since then he's pushed this big money move for Ronald to move on to Everton. Now, in the grand scheme of things, according to the table, Saints are quote bigger club because we've now got a Europa League 2 years in a row. However, Everton's new ownership are offering £100 million transfer budget, the biggest in their history.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of reports about the wealth of the guy that's just moved into Everton, but it's not like our owners aren't wealthy, and it's not like we haven't got money to spend. The club has been run on a very sensible business budget. It's heads above water, and even if we reluctantly have to sell a couple of players in the summer, we've got a lot of money to invest to take the club on to the next level. So it just defies logic to see why he would want to go to Everton. As a few people have said, I always thought that his long-term thinking was, let's pump for someone like Barcelona, long-term. That's his ambition. That's what he wants to achieve in life. Yeah. Well, going to Everton seems very strange because they've inherited a lot of wealth, allegedly. Their supporters are going to be thinking that they're going to be, all of a sudden, a top 6 team, challenging for honours. And there's going to be a lot of pressure. If things don't happen, if Ronald does make the move, if things don't happen for him, he's going to have an awful lot of pressure on his head. An awful lot of pressure. And so I don't see it's a very good move for him at all. And I'm hoping that that's what the delay is now, that he's actually thinking about it and, saying, well, actually, you know what? I've built a great team at Southampton. I can take them on to the next level. Whatever that is, it's a much better bet. Southampton is a better bet right now.
Unfortunately for us in this current climate of football, money talks. But like you said, he's built a great team. We're moving on to the next step. If he were to continue with us next season, we all thought he was an honourable man, trustworthy man. 1 year left in his contract. If he were to stay, do you think we could break into that top 4? Maybe.
It's very difficult. Obviously, you've got to get off to a decent start. You need, and who knows what players are going to leave in the summer, because that's my biggest concern right now. Is we thought that 1 or 2 players would leave, but whatever happens, things need to be in place for when the players come back from training, because that's the mistake we've made in previous seasons. Like last season, we didn't start great. Because so much happened in the summer, the season before, so many people left. So we weren't ready at the start of the season, and people were ready for our big fall. Okay, great that we've ended up finishing 6th, fantastic, and 7th the year before. But I want to be ready for the season. I want the supporters to be upbeat and everything to be positive, because that's how it should be. We've got, you think to yourself, 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, we ended up finishing 6th in the Premier League, and everyone was looking forward to the next season. And it's just come out of the blue, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I mean, obviously, if this nightmare comes true, if he was to join Everton, it's certainly a step back in his career, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but it's important to find out who actually replaces Koeman at Southampton. But I certainly trust the recruitment process at the football club.
Yeah, of course. You'd like to think that we can get somebody in. If this happens, then we can get someone in pretty quick. But that's my biggest concern. The planning blocks have to be in place for next season, very early in the summer, because it comes round really quick. It comes round really quick, and thank God we are in the qualifying stages of the Europa League, because that's one pressure that we really didn't need at the start of the season. But we're all a bit gutted right now because we look like we're going to lose the man that's one of the men that's put us in the position we're in. And let's get somebody. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. I just wish that there'd be a bit more information coming out of the club, because I think the fans deserve that. I think the fans deserve that.
I mean, you're right about that. Obviously, because there's a lack of information coming from the club, perhaps no news is good news.
Possibly in the fact that it was bad news 2 weeks ago when Les Reed said that negotiations were going well and nothing happened and there was no more news. Hopefully, on the opposite side of things, if there's no announcement made, I haven't heard anything from Ronald Koeman. I want to hear Ronald before anybody starts slagging him off. Let's hear what he's got to say. I don't want to hear agents. I don't want to hear the Sun. I don't want to hear the Mail. I want to hear it from Ronald Koeman.
There's 5 names in the hat for Ronald Koeman's replacement: David Moyes, Pellegrini, Frank de Boer, Eddie Howe, and Unai Emery, the former Sevilla manager. Of those 5, if obviously if these reports were to be true in the next few days, perhaps it's even come true when this video's come out, of those 5, who would you prefer?
I guess the Seville guy, because he's got contacts at the top level of football, and that's a sort of. Whilst I think Eddie Howe is a great manager and has done wonders for Bournemouth, has he got the contacts at the top level that we need to take things forward here? I think I was very impressed with Quique Sanchez-Flores last season for what he did with Watford. So there's another name that's maybe not been thrown in the hat, but obviously the Seville guy has done the business and done it at the top level. So but are Saints really in the market for that? Because they're going to have to cough the money up. As much as we might get some compo for if Ronald does go, we're going to have to cough the money up the other way as well. So it's the horrible world that football moves, and to be honest, I hate it. I'd love to be talking about football. I'd love to be talking about what we did at the end of the season, which I thought was remarkable. But sadly, it's now descended to all this drama, which we don't need.
Well, there you have it, guys. Let us know in the comments below. Of those 5 names, who would you prefer, and what do you make of all this speculation about Ronald Koeman's future? Subscribe for more.